Welcome everyone to the Electric Coaches channel. As you already know, I've been working with my 49ers trying to find bases to outfit this team with. I have auditioned several teams searching for bases for these 49ers. I have yet to pull any of those bases from those other teams. I have found some other bases that I'm interested in that could potentially make this team. This defense that you see here is predominantly comprised of Frankenstein Tudor total team control bases. I've had the opportunity to scrimmage with these 49ers against an opponent at the Capital City Clash in Laurel. He was using the Dallas Cowboys. My 49ers defense usually would play in a 3-4 base defense. My outside linebackers normally would be positioned here and here. But since my opponent had left his gaps open here on the edge, I was tempted to send my outside linebackers up to the line of scrimmage in an effort to apply pressure to this backfield. I wanted to send one linebacker to the quarterback and another linebacker to one of these running backs back here, just in case the play would turn into a running play. So let's watch this play develop. I'll pause it there. And as you can see, the linebackers did exactly what I expected. Now, this pressure forced my opponent to make a decision with the football. His receiver here at the top of the screen is jammed, and the receiver here at the bottom of the screen has base contact with my corner. So those two receivers are totally out. That's not an option for him at this point. So he was left with dumping the football to this running back here. And fortunately, his tight end had trapped down on my left defensive end. And because of that, his running back wasn't able to get out of the backfield. He got tangled up with his tight end, as you can see here. All in all, I'm happy with the defensive effort of this particular play. This is the second play of the scrimmage. And if you look at my defense, we have a slightly different formation than what we had in the previous play. For starters, my safety, which is here, would normally be set back in this area here. But I placed them there to cover this gap over this tight end in case this running back makes it out of the backfield. This left inside linebacker, he had gotten caught up on the rear of the base of the left defensive end here. And as a result, he couldn't play his gap in this area. My outside linebackers, starting with this left outside linebacker, my opponent had given this left outside linebacker the same gap over the tight end right here. So I positioned him there for that reason, to get in that backfield, to get to one of these running backs. My right outside linebacker was challenged a little bit more because my opponent had placed a slot receiver here to chip the linebacker. So now Tony Romo is going to have the football. So I want you to watch this play develop. I'll pause it there. Let's bring it back a little bit. Now, you see the right outside linebacker here? He's applying pressure on the quarterback. So my opponent, once again, is forced to make a decision with the football. He could have thrown to this receiver here, But because of the closeness of my outside linebacker here, he couldn't fit the touch distance quarterback in that area of the field without possibly throwing the football short or overthrowing the ball. If he had thrown it short, it probably would have landed here in this area, and that would have been a turnover. So his only options at this point are one of these two running backs here. He chose to throw the football to this running back right here. Now remember the safety I told you about that I moved up? He's positioned there, over the tight end now. Let's watch this play some more. I'll pause it right there. The safety was able to make a play on the football. If my opponent had gambled a little bit more, he could have given the football to this running back here. Reason why? Remember the linebacker I talked about earlier, whose base had gotten stuck on the defensive end? Right here. As a result of that, you see how my linebacker is running parallel to the line of scrimmage this way. He's running away from the football now. So if my opponent had given the football to this back instead of this back, he would have had a big play. Let's watch it. Pause it right there. There's his running back. Free and clear. Could have gone the distance. In this particular play, once again, my opponent had given me the outside edge. And as a result, I set my outside linebackers to cover those edges. But what I found interesting was my opponent has set his running backs in a somewhat I formation. And here he shifts one of his backs, as you can see here, to this area. Upon seeing that shift, I knew that we were still in good shape defensively because I had my safety here set to cover this gap over this slot receiver. My opponent had been trying to get to this edge all night during that scrimmage. The running back that's going to carry the ball is here. So that means this linebacker, he's now tasked with making a play on the ball. So let's watch this play develop. I'll pause it right there. See how my linebacker filled the gap and turned to the ball carrier here? I'm pleased with what I saw, but I could have been a little bit more precise in how I placed that linebacker initially in the play. Let me rewind it a bit. He's here. And he covers this gap here. But because I set him too close over the defensive end, when he turned prematurely a bit. As I talked about earlier, my opponent has been trying to get to the outside all day in this scrimmage. And this time, he wants to go to the right side of my defense. He's been leaving these gaps open here where I've been setting my outside linebackers at. And my outside linebackers have been doing an excellent job at setting the edge and applying pressure to the backfield. Let's watch this play develop. I'll pause it right there. You see the right outside linebacker? He's being blocked by the fullback. But look where the front of his base is. It's still facing toward the ball carrier. The left outside linebacker is there to apply pressure on the quarterback. And at the same time, he's going to continue to move forward into this backfield. Pause there. Let me bring it back a little bit. Just a touch. Now you see the ball carrier is here. He's surrounded by 3 red shirts. That's what I want to see in my defense. I want to see my defenders sprint to the football, as you see here. Walk it back just a little bit. Run it again. I pause it there. Look at that. Excellent defensive effort. I'm pleased with what I'm seeing, especially with these outside linebackers here. After several attempts to try to run to the outside of my defense, my opponent decided he wanted to bring his receivers closer to his offensive line, thereby cutting off the gaps that he was giving my outside linebackers all night. But this is a good test for my outside linebackers because I've been wanting to test how resistant they could be, how well they could hold their own on the outside edge. The ball carrier is here. So let's watch this play develop. I'll pause it right there. The receiver had chipped my outside linebacker here, so he's pretty much out of the play. And the same happened to this right outside linebacker. The front of his base is not in a position to make a play on the ball here. But because of that contact that this linebacker had made with this blocking fullback, my linebacker had forced the fullback to go backwards into his own backfield, colliding with the ball carrier, thereby buying my defense some time to get into position to make a play on the ball. Because if you watch my safety here, he's now able to step into this gap to get to the running back once he's released from the fullback. I'll pause it right there. Here's the safety, and there's the running back. Let's bring it back just a notch. Run it again, I pause it. See the fullback there colliding with the ball carrier? And here's my safety. Although the linebacker couldn't make a play on the ball, he forced that fullback to run into his teammate. Pause it there. Here comes the safety, still covering his gap. Pause it again. You see that? You see how the safety is holding his ground, containing the ball carrier in the backfield. Excellent defensive effort. I'm still going to continue to work more with these 49ers. And I hope that you've enjoyed this video. We still have to talk about the offense of this team. I wanted to run this team in a scrimmage at the Tucson MFCA convention this past summer of 2015. In fact, that tournament had taken place back on the last week, and I wasn't able to make that tournament. I wanted to take these 49ers there to test them out against some other opponents. That was back on August 31 through, no, I'm sorry, July 31 through August 2nd. That tournament had taken place, the Tucson MFCA convention. So I wasn't there for that one. So again, I'm going to continue to work with these 49ers, trying to bring out more on this team. And I'm going to show you what I did with the bases in another segment. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm Mo. Thanks for watching.